From painting on cave walls to writing on Facebook walls, from sending messages through carrier pigeons to tweeting. Though the modes of communications have changed over the century, the essence hasn't. And in this age of social media, it's never been easy.
And social media has revolutionized personal and business communication, with platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, giving direct line of access between users and the service providers, allowing for dialogue, feedback, and the promotion of goods and services. Tonight, we shall be looking at social network as a tool for promoting public transportation. I am Obafemi Craig.
I am Kate Harmony. See you after the break.
This is the news update on Lamata FR. The Managing Director of Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata, has assured of a faithful implementation of the state's Strategic Transport Master Plan in a manner that will improve the comfort and lifestyle of the people. He explained that the master plan is the compass guiding the implementation of all the transport modes planned for Lagos in order to give the state a world-class transport system. Speaking at a workshop organized by the Transport Planning Unit under the Managing Director's Office in conjunction with Korea Transport Initiative, Dr. Mobriela said the master plan has evolved over the years, having been taken through a series of stakeholders' engagements. He said some of the transport projects in the master plan have either been implemented or are currently being implemented. The Lamata Emsman said the bus rapid transit system from Mile 12 to CMS, which opened in March 2008, and the extension to Ikorodu from Mile 12, and the bus franchise scheme between Alimosho and Maryland were some of the projects identified in the master plan. He called on the private sector and other investors to show keen interest in the transport projects of the Lagos State government with a view to achieving the vision of a world-class transport system. Residents in Ogba, Ikeja area of Lagos State, have commended the quality and pace of work on the rehabilitation of Wemco Road. Wemco Road, formerly a single carriageway, is being dualized with pedestrian walkways and pilot bicycle lanes. The road is also to be fitted with street lights and lane markings. They expressed the hope that other contractors engaged to work on projects for the Lagos State government would emulate the professional manner of the contractor in implementing projects. To date, the project has achieved 60% completion rate, and it is projected to be completed by the first quarter of 2015. This is the news update. More to come after the break.
Basically, what Lamata does is to coordinate public transportation in Lagos State, and we came up with a transport master plan.
Developed together with the World Bank, the objective of this plan is finding long-lasting solutions for the problem of transportation in Lagos. Currently under its first steps of development, the plan has already proven itself a big success, dramatically increasing the connectivity in a city in continuous expansion and enjoying an unparalleled demographic and economic growth.
Our responsibility is to ensure that we provide the necessary infrastructure to meet the growth, to improve the quality of life, to improve the standard of living, and to make Lagos a vibrant and livable city in years to come.
Lamata, think transport.
To give us an understanding and in-depth analysis on our topic for today is the External Relations Specialist Lamata, Mr. Kolawole Ojelabi, who will be telling us how Lamata has been deploying its web-based applications to communicate the vision of government. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today.
It's good to be here.
So what's the relationship between social media and public transportation?
Thank you very much. First, we need to understand what is social media.
Yes.
And people have used the term social media in a lot of ways. Some describe it as social networking, some describe it as Web 2.0, but all these are web applications for communicating, for people to interact with each other. Transportation, public transportation, people move from one point to the other. People require information as to what mode of transport to use, at what time of the day should they use the transport system. So social media enables people to get information as to how to use public transport. They get updates on so there's a whole wall of relationship between social media and public transportation.
So basically is to transmit information to users, riders, and
Exactly, and very much so. A lot of people also, through the social media platform, communicate to us, telling us about happenings within the corridor. I mean, particularly with the BRT corridor that is operating. That's the one between my 12 and CMS. If there are infractions along the corridor, we get to know through this platform.
So what social media are we talking about for you? What's your major tool?
Okay, in Lamata, we have successfully deployed what you call the social media or networking-based application, which is the Facebook. We have a Facebook page for particularly Lamata Afar.
Okay.
And people can always go there. It's facebook.com/LamataNG. Although we also have another one, the YouTube channels, through which people can watch even past editions of Lamata Afar. And if we have interesting video about our projects, we also post on this platform.
How has Lamata been able to deploy its web applications to achieve all of these messages that you're talking about and driving its intent and purpose as an agency?
Okay, part of what we do is that we use this program, Lamata Afar, to drive people to this site. At the end of this program, there are always details of how you can get in touch with us. We will have the Facebook page, we have the YouTube page, and we also use other applications like the BlackBerry Messenger. We also have the WhatsApp application, although these ones are different from what we call the social media, because essentially social media are web-based applications, but these ones are telephone-based. So we are deployed this plethora of platforms for people to get in touch with us. And the essence of that is for us to have an engagement with members of the public. We want to know what we are doing right and we want to know what we are doing wrong. And so if they're able to get across to us, and if we see that what we are doing is wrong, we'll find a way to turn it around and make sure that it meets the expectation of the people out there.
Based on the feedback, would you say you can say categorically clear that you've been able to make your mark with these applications?
I can confirm to you that it has really helped us in shaping some of our communication policy.
How?
Okay, today we have over 80,000 likes on Facebook. And we deployed the Facebook early this year. And don't let us forget that it's only the younger elements that you see use the Facebook. And so if you could have over 80,000 likes of younger elements using, interacting with us on Facebook, you can also imagine how many text messages we get, how many messages we get on WhatsApp, how many messages we get on BlackBerry Messenger. So it has actually effectively helped us in shaping the way we're communicating with them. It also has helped us in communicating with the operator of the BRT, for instance, the operator of the BFS, as to what the public require and how to give it back to the public.
So since it's this effective, do you plan to extend it to other social media platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, because we have so many of them?
Well, Twitter, for instance, is a micro blogging platform. And in terms of the way we write here, Twitter can only take about 140 characters. So some people may not really be able to express themselves fully.
In detail.
But I'm not saying that we're not going to still deploy this application. We'll deploy them. But we have to look at how people, will use these platforms. Now, don't forget that LinkedIn is only for professionals. Of course, it will also enable us to be able to...
You can use it to hire.
At least, as I said hire, you can also, as professionals in your right, because we know your organization speaks volume of professional skills experts in their respective field. So does that in any way add value to what you represent as a government
Of course,
agency?
it does. I'll tell you that Lamata today has people who have experiences, abroad. And these are people who have worked in places where transport system it's entrenched. And that's why at Lamata we are trying to build a system that will promote world-class transport system. And so in order for us to do that, we needed to go abroad and bring in these people. And some of these people we have been able to get them through, some of us who have LinkedIn, and we say, oh, I found this man or I found this woman. I'm sure that we'll be able to use his or our expertise. And some of them are working in Lamata today.
There's something I read online. It said that public transport providers provide less information and they do more of marketing. How true is this?
Well, let me say that Lamata is not a transport operating company.
But you provide infrastructure.
We provide infrastructure.
So how good are you in the provision of information, real-time information?
Okay. What we do, for instance, let me use a life case experience.
Okay.
We are currently constructing the BRT infrastructure from Mile 12 to Ikorodu. Apart from the fact that we have had physical contact with the people through stakeholder engagement, we have held 2 enlarged stakeholder meetings. We have held 2 community forum meetings. That is one leg of it. Okay. Then in terms of using social media, during any of our stakeholder engagement, we collect information from these people. We collect their telephone numbers, we collect their emails, and those of them that have BlackBerry messengers, we collect their pins. So we send messages to them. Okay. Sometimes when we have gridlock on that corridor and we have that information, we quickly tell people to say that there is this, there's a challenge on that road. If you can use alternative route, and we have had commendation from stakeholders saying that they like the way we carry them along on this construction.
So looking into the future of public transportation, how do you think that social media, social networking can effectively affect public transportation?
Well, I would say that social media, in terms of its usage for now in Nigeria, is still very limited. So there is also the need for us to still rely on the traditional media. We still do that effectively. But we believe that in the nearest future, when the number of literate people who are literate in the use of social media increases, certainly social media has a future in public transportation. That is one. Another leg of it is that, since social media itself is web-based application, we know also there's also an aspect of web-based application whereby you could pay for your ticket online, for instance.
Yes.
You could reload your card online.
Check time schedule.
Time schedule. You could also get weather. And one of the things Lamata is doing is that very soon we are going to deploy ITS, Intelligent Transport System. With Intelligent Transport System also, you can be in your room and log on to a public computer where you can get information about when a bus is arriving, when a train is arriving.
How soon are you getting there?
I will tell you that we are working seriously on it. It is better for us to start deploying before we tell you that this is when we're going to get
But
there.
we know you.
Let me also say something about what we're introducing very soon to our Facebook page. On our Facebook page, there's going to be a face that is known as Mr. Lamata. Mr. Lamata will answer all your questions.
But you said something here again, that when we look at the age in terms of what the those using social media today, the age bracket is between maybe 39, or let's say 18 to 45 maximum. Are you saying that you are not reaching out to the elderly in the society that you are also supposed to serve, who are 50 years, 60 and above, because they also are part of the users of your service?
Certainly, we are reaching out to everybody. But you know that the usage of the social media has a little education. You cannot say just because you're a meat seller, you want to go on Facebook, and if you go on Facebook and you cannot interact, I mean, it's pointless for you to have done so.
So it's a mix of traditional
it's
media
a mix
and
traditional media and
social
the social media.
media.
Because those people who cannot read or write, we still have a way of communicating with them. I'm sure you will have been hearing on radio how we've been playing some jingle on our project, and the need for also to call on people to continue to support us. All we require from the people is to support. And when we have their support and they buy into the project, they own the project, because they have to own it. Because if they don't, for instance, I don't live in Ikorodu, but people along Ikorodu Road have to own that project. Because if that project stops working,
it affects everybody.
It affects
so beneficially,
their community. So they benefit from it.
Would you say beneficially that you are in the right stead?
Certainly.
This far?
You are watching Lamata Ep2, and we've been discussing the impact, the relationship between social media and public transportation. We'll go on a break now, and when we return, we'll hear from our audience. Stay with us. Feedback is a very important aspect of communication, and here it's our custom to take questions, observations, contributions from our audience. You're welcome to the program today. So can we take your questions?
Mr. Ojalabi, in your speech, you mentioned about literate and illiterate people. According to you, you said illiterate people, when they open Facebook or WhatsApp, they don't know what to do or how to go about it. Then how are you going to carry along those who are not literate?
Thank you very much, Mr. Olutokun. Let me say here that while I was speaking, I mentioned also the traditional forms of getting across to the people. We normally call stakeholders meeting. And at this stakeholders meeting, we use the language that people understand. Apart from that, we also have communication on radio, where most of the time we use English, we use Yoruba, and we use Pidgin, particularly for those who are not Yoruba speakers. Pidgin is one language that everybody understands. No matter how you break it down, they will still be able to get one or two things. Besides, also, we do print handbills. Most of these handbills, we print them in English and we print them in Yoruba. For those who can read Yoruba, they will read. And for those who cannot read Yoruba, maybe they can take the English one, give to their children at home to read to them. In any way, we make sure that everybody understands what we are doing. And when we meet people one-on-one, we also explain. We ask you the language you understand, and we speak to you in that language.
And we also have Lamata Ep2, where we translate in Pidgin and in Yoruba for people who really cannot understand English.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we take more questions.
I want to ask a question concerning when you said that there is this technology about Mr. Lamata or Miss Lamata face that will soon start appearing on Facebook. But my question is, even before it happens, how have you been effectively communicating with people, especially on Facebook? Because as you said initially when you started, that you have thousands of likes and then comments, plenty of comments, which includes motivations, contributions, and of course questions. So how do you answer those questions? How do you communicate effectively to each and every questions being asked online via Facebook?
People have always gotten back to us to say that to validate the answers, our responses to their questions. So I think by and large, it has been very effective. If you have not liked our Facebook page, I think you need to go there and like it so that when you give in your complaint and now test if we do not answer you.
Most times I try calling the BRT buses and to complain about their driving, like the reckless driving, but still nobody gets to answer me or give me any response from the number written on the buses. Why?
First and foremost, I need to ask you what you meant by BRT buses. Because sometimes people confuse the blue buses with the red buses.
The blue bus.
Okay, if you talk about the blue bus, right, let me say that, there's an operator for the blue buses. Now, what we do in Lamata is to regulate their operations. Now, we have our number through which you can reach us. Definitely at the end of this program, that number is going to scroll. But I will give you the number, 0703 00 40003.
All right, thank
so
you very
if you
much,
call on that number or you send a text message to that number, you can be sure that you get an instant response.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
To our audience, it's been a delight having you here on our program today. Thank you so very much. Well, Mr. Dilabi, Kate said something that is a custom on Lamata FR to always get contributions from our audience. It's also a tradition that we must also hear from you before you leave a point of finality as your advice to us.
There's a plan in Lagos State to make sure that transport is available to citizens everywhere. And that plan is encapsulated in the Lagos State Strategic Transport Master Plan that we call the STMP. The STMP details the transport requirements for Lagos State up to the year 2032. Now, how do we actualize this? We need the people for us to be able to actualize it. And so if you want to have more information about us, just simply go to our website, lamata-ng.com. You can go to our Facebook page and like us. You can go to our YouTube page and also, look at past editions of Lamata FR and have an insight into what we plan to do for Lagos. If you have not been part of social media platform, this is a real opportunity for me to say, join us.
And we want to say thank you for being our guest here today. It's so pleasant having you.
Thank you very much.
With that, we conclude our discussion on today's topic, which is social networking as a tool for promoting public transport in Lagos State. We'll be back after the break.
Our guests today don't talk, say, Lagos State government through Lamata get ogbonge plan for public transportation for everybody for Lagos. So make we dey follow government talk for Facebook, for website, and other network them. Make you talk the talk, make them for work the work. Or na make we enjoy better public transportation for Lagos State.
Àlejò wa sọ fún wa lónìí wípé ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àti ilé-iṣẹ́ Lamata ti ṣe ètò ńlá kan kalẹ̀ fún ètò ọkọ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. Wọ́n wá ń gbà wá nímọ̀ràn wípé ká máa bá ìjọba sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀rọ agbọ́rọ̀káyé ní ìgbàkúùgbà ká sọ ohun tí a fẹ́ kí ìjọba mọ ohun tí a fẹ́ láti lè jẹ́ kí a gbádùn ètò ọkọ̀ jù báyìí lọ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can connect with us using the details appearing on your screen. Would love to hear from you.
Every member of our studio audience will go home with a loaded Lagos Connect card. Do join us same time next week for another episode of the program. Till next week.
Lamata.
Civic transport.
Lagos, my home. With Lamata, Lagos is changing for the best. BRT lanes, modern rail lines, pedestrian bridges.